The passport bro movement. Somewhere we're apparently at in 2025. Is it love or is it just a frequent flyer program for fragile egos? Let's dig into it.
Pattaya is just for perverted old men who want a girlfriend 40 years younger than them.
There are so many creepy old men in Thailand.
I take 24 ladies. Thai lady can go with the most ugly man. She's walking with him, she'll laugh at everything he says. The English girl would say, "Get away from me, old man."
I heard people come here to find their wives.
Yeah, after people do that are probably losers, to be honest.
Passport bros, aka the men that treat dating like a clearance sale, convinced the perfect woman is always in a country where the exchange rates are the best thing about him. While most travelers come home with like memories or souvenirs, these guys come home convinced that they've cracked the code to dating by targeting women who believe that being with them is their best way out of an economic struggle. They do frame it as traditional values or finding real love, but the sales pitch always seems to involve choosing places where the currency exchange rate bumps them from a 3 to a 6. Translation, they can't compete when women have options, so they go to places where the choices and power are stacked in their favor. So today we're unpacking the passport bro phenomenon and the uncomfortable truth about why it's not just cringe, it's exploitation. So what exactly is a passport bro? In short, men usually from Western countries who proudly announce that they have opted out of their local dating scene in favor of traveling overseas to find women who are more traditional and submissive and feminine. AKA these women would be financially dependent on the aforementioned passport bro and wouldn't be able to freely leave like Western women can. But give it a few years and then they're having a meltdown on TikTok disparaging the same women for becoming too westernized and leaving the passport bros the second they're able to.
Well, it didn't take long. It only took 2 years, literally to the day, December 27th, for my Filipino wife to become fully Americanized, hate everything about me and what I provide, and decide to leave.
Mind you, he is 33 years older than her. But more on that later. The term started cropping up online a lot in the late 2010s, but then really took off with the manosphere social media boom. TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, and especially the r/passport bros Reddit forum, where you'll find a misogynistic cesspool of endless threads on which countries supposedly have the easiest women. Spoiler alert, it's never about the food or culture. It is never actually about shared values or traditional relationships. And passport bros cop a lot of backlash in their home countries, usually Western countries, and also the countries that they visit. The locals there don't like them either because an increase in passport bros means an increase in sex tourism, which has a long list of negative consequences for everyone living there. Everything from the local community becoming dependent on sex work instead of the local industries, driving up the cost of living in tourist heavy areas, revenue usually going to exploitative foreign owned businesses or middlemen, an increase in human trafficking, an increase in child sex trafficking and coercion, much higher risk of abuse and violence, an increase in STIs, foreigners avoiding legal accountability, the rise in organized crime. The list really does go on forever. And this concept isn't actually new. Western men have been traveling overseas to find wives for decades. It just used to be called mail order brides and there were literally listings for it in like the back of the newspaper or magazines. They do frame it as a lifestyle choice, like they're escaping Western toxic dating culture, but it overlaps heavily with online spaces that are just full of men who hate women, bitter that women are no longer financially shackled to them and can now choose freely, angry about modern dating standards that they don't fit and the awareness that they're losing in their dating marketplace at home. This is a map one guy from r/the passport bros made showing what countries are the easiest and hardest to date in, which just happens to align with places where financial power tilts heavily in their direction. Go figure. Why large parts of Africa are not even on the map is telling. Honestly, the concept of passport bros is hilarious. Like, think about it. Proudly admitting that no woman in your entire country wants you, so you have to fly to the other side of the world to maybe find someone who will tolerate you for money is crazy work. All that instead of just going to therapy or developing social skills, respecting women, God forbid. Now, to be fair, not every man that dates abroad is a predator, obviously. Some might genuinely be looking for love or cultural connection or a lifestyle that just isn't clicking with them at home. And one thing that basically everyone on every side of this argument can seem to agree on is that modern dating is fucked. The dating pool, at least for heterosexuals, good luck to you all, is cooked. It's an absolute shit show. Men aren't happy, women aren't happy, you guys can't seem to see eye to eye on basically anything. And there is a very long list of good reasons why that is, which I spoke about in the video I did on situationships if you're interested. So that element to this story is very real and is a struggle for a lot of people across the board. You know what, maybe some of these guys have lived overseas before and enjoyed it, or they're from a multicultural background. Maybe they just had bad luck dating locally and they think a change of scenery can help them. And in some cases, those relationships do work. Two adults meet, they connect, they build something real across cultures. That happens all the time. But here's the thing, the passport bro movement doesn't market itself as like cross-cultural romance, rooted in genuine feelings and a deep respect for each other. That's not what's happening here. The passport bro movement is built on number one, grievance, control, and it is hinging entirely on a power imbalance. Without that power imbalance, this doesn't work. So even if a few men are in it for the right reason, they are swimming in a sea of other men who just see women from other countries as an easier target. And I have a surprising amount of male viewers who watch these kinds of videos that may piss men off a little bit, but they're able to understand that it doesn't apply to them, it's not about them, and they can healthily engage with the video for what it is, which in this case is a critique of this very specific breed of creepy old men who prey on women from overseas. Almost always younger women, almost always women in a precarious economic situation. So if you find yourself taking offense to what I'm pointing out here and having some big feelings about it, maybe look inwards, because this video might be a mirror for you. Okay, but we're going to pause the chaos for a second and talk about the sponsor of this video, Jackary. Jackary makes portable power stations. Basically think of a normal generator, but without the loud engine or the smell of fuel. I've been using the Jackary Explorer 2000. It's designed for everything from off-grid living, camping, an emergency home backup, all the way to road trips where you still want your gear powered like you never left home. And I do mean all of your gear, because you can power up to 6 devices at once with this thing. Laptops, phones, cameras, kitchen appliances, medical devices, and it still had power to spare, no problem. I even plugged in my guitar amp just to see if it could handle it, and it could. It's also winter in Australia at the moment and it has been freezing. So lo and behold, you can also run a heater off your Jackary. Definitely check the wattage for your particular heater, but this was a game changer. For the amount of power that it packs, it is surprisingly compact and lightweight. It takes up way less space than other generators in its class. Charging it is really quick too. You can go from 0% to 80% in just 52 minutes when it's plugged into a wall, and you can also charge it with solar panels or in your car. So you can be completely off grid with this thing. And if you're using it in a quiet setting, it's not going to drown out the moment. When I have this thing on, I can't hear it. Like you can very faintly hear it. If there's any other ambient noise, you can't hear the generator, which is wild. In quiet mode, it runs under 30 decibels. Plus it has an ultra long standby mode, which means it can hold 50% of its charge for up to 2 years. So you can leave it go and it'll be ready for when you need it. Safety wise, it uses Jackary's Charge Shield technology, which gives you 62 forms of protection. And it has a 20 millisecond EPS switchover, which means in a blackout, essential appliances like your fridge or CPAP machines, for example, will still keep running. They'll stay powered without you even noticing the change. Everything is controlled through the Jackary app, which is really easy to use. You can check the charge levels, see how much power is being used, and turn the device on or off right from your phone. And if you want to see this in action in person, Jackary will be exhibiting at the Melbourne 4x4 show, and that's from August 22nd to August 24th, so you can get in there and check it out for yourself. If you're ready to level up your power game, you can check out the Jackary Explorer 2000 with the link in my description. And a big thanks to Jackary for sponsoring this video. I genuinely, it's sitting over there, I love that thing. So the next question is why? Why? Well, the sales pitch usually goes something like this. They are almost always looking for submissive or traditional women, which, let's be honest, that just means easier to control. And in the same breath, they will say they hate gold diggers. They're adamant that they hate gold diggers in the West, while actively seeking out relationships that by their own definition would be gold digging. The only difference is, instead of them wanting like maybe a designer bag, I don't know, the women that these passport bros seek out just want a chance at a better life usually, or economic stability. And spoiler, they are never with these men for their looks or shining personality.
I can control them better. A girl who can't afford to say, "F you, Corey, I'm gone." She just can't afford to do it. So I take advantage of that. Now, that might be wrong, but her poverty and my needs, most of the time, it even out. I don't really need a lot of their time.
How you speak of women, right, where you want control. Is there ever...
I don't want control that is taken by force. I want control because I'm the one who is the leader of the pack. Naturally.
This is the thing. Overlooking the whole first half of that video, this is like the corrosive mindset of these types of men. He's saying, literally in the same sentence, he wants control because he's the leader of the pack naturally. That is an oxymoron. If you need to manufacture control, you are not naturally the leader of the pack. Those two things are completely at odds with each other. Like, those two statements completely contradict each other. If he has to find, by his words, women in poverty so that he can have control over them, then you are not naturally the leader. You are only the leader under a very specific set of circumstances that takes away all of their autonomy and makes them completely financially reliant on you. That's not a leader, babes. That's this man wanting to be a king, but not being able to afford it without women that don't have anything, you know? Okay, I don't even know if this guy is a passport bro, but this is the mindset that drives the passport bro movement. This is the whole thing. We could end the video here. Western women, thanks to feminism, have gained far more economic and social freedom than we've ever had. We've still got a long way to go, but most of us, within reason, can leave like unhealthy or abusive relationships a lot more freely. We can be more selective about who we want to have children with. We can decide if and when we want to have a family because of contraception and abortion access. And generally it's a lot easier to avoid getting stuck in relationships because of pregnancy or financial duress. The traditional values that passport bros romanticize and seek only really benefited men at the expense of women. Under that system, men could just have a job, do the bare minimum, be unlikable or abusive, and still have a wife and family because she had no choice, because women had to find a man for survival. Society was literally set up to shackle women to men for survival. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but that framework artificially boosted men who, under natural circumstances, may never have had a partner or kids, simply because they couldn't compete. A lot of animals in the animal kingdom don't pass their genes on just because they can't compete. That's how nature is. Patriarchy removed that competition and forced almost all men into the gene pool. The passport bros are those men. And now that the tides have shifted and women have more choice and freedom than ever, they can no longer compete in an environment where partners are chosen on more than just survival and force. And instead of working on themselves and improving themselves, they just travel to places where that socioeconomic inequality allows them to recreate that old dynamic. The same artificial transactional setup, but with a much smaller budget.
My Filipino wife has been Americanized.
So this is Chad to Dad. Basically, the story behind this is he's a passport bro. He went and found a Filipino wife, brought her over to America, and she has now left him, as far as I'm aware. And then he went on a big online rant saying she's Americanized and all of this.
I'm a passport bro. I brought her here. I married her here. I signed all the government forms saying that I will support her for a minimum of 10 or 1,000 years. I don't know. I don't even know what I signed. And all you dudes out there who have been through this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Americanized means weaponization of the male-female relationship to benefit the female, because...
But in America, in order to effectively import a wife, you do have to, like he said, sign all of this stuff to say that you will financially support this person. He signed that. He's sitting here saying, I don't even know what I signed. That's kind of your problem, babe. That's kind of your fault that you did that, though. Maybe don't do that next time. Maybe don't sign things that have explicit consequences and then get angry at those consequences when they arrive. And this is the thing, they want traditional relationships. Traditional means you support the wife 100%. You pay for everything. If they leave, you pay alimony, you pay child support, you are the provider. But when the providing part comes around, they get angry. Make it make sense.
We're in a patriarchal system and men still have most of the money. Now, that's exactly what's true in our relationship. She doesn't have any money. I have all the money. And it's, you know, a relationship can go south when the woman has lost love for her man and she's just going for the bag. And if she goes for the bag, she's going to get a huge portion of that.
So then why, if you're aware that this could happen, why seek out a relationship where you know love is not involved? It is purely transactional. It is like a gold digging relationship, by their words. It is based purely on you paying them. It is about the bag. It's not actually about anything else. The delusion in these people is incredible.
Well, it didn't take long. It only took 2 years, literally to the day, December 27th, for my Filipino wife to become fully Americanized, hate everything about me and what I provide, and decide to leave. There's a lot to it, and I'm not gonna go into it, okay?
Not gonna go into it, but this video is 4 minutes long, okay? Are we surprised? A better question, why are we surprised?
After providing and going on the Disney World trip, when we got back from Orlando to St. Simons, Georgia, I was greeted with the announcement from Jayanne that she wanted a separation. And then I discovered through text that she had been discussing this with her family. That's heavy, right? That's a nuke. And I'm gonna go into my bunker. So I came downstairs in my nice 4-story mansion and just stayed by myself, and I missed Christmas with my children.
So he went downstairs and chose to miss Christmas with his children. What, did he want everyone to not have Christmas? Did he want his kids to not have Christmas because he was... I can't.
My in-laws, my mother and my father-in-law, and Jayanne, they proceeded to open the presents without me. Presents all of which I bought.
You could have been a part of that at any point, babe. The crux of this entire video is this man who is 33 years older than this young woman didn't think that he would be the one who would lose the power and the control in this relationship. He bought a relationship and he thought since he has all the money and control and power, she would never be able to stand up to him and leave him. And her being Americanized is just exercising her free will, which is the basis for this entire passport bro movement. He's so focused on he provides this and it's his big 4-story mansion and he bought all the presents and he provides, and then also getting angry that that's all he is to her. He wants a genuine relationship to magically form out of a relationship that he seems to have bought. I do want to preface that I don't know the ins and outs of this situation. I don't know him personally, obviously. I don't know. I'm just commentating based on what I can see in these few videos. When you pursue someone based on the fact that you are providing money and they are providing the performance of love, that's all it's ever going to be. And also, he knew this is what he signed up for.
Honest question. Why did you marry me?
Because I don't want to work.
When people like this guy lead with money and resources as the linchpin of the relationship, and then the relationship turns out to be transactional, how are you mad?
I know that my Americanized Filipino wife is not gonna leave me. She's pregnant. She may not love me, she may not want me, but she needs me.
This is crazy. Like, this is what it kind of devolves into. You can't, a healthy marriage can't function as a monarchy. I actually met a passport bro in the wild once. I just remembered this. I was traveling Bali. I was with one of my friends at the time and we met this guy who was American and had been around Bali for like 6 months, but by himself. He was in like the room next to us, so pretty unavoidable. Had a chat with him. Anyway, he told us he had a daughter back home in America, said she was in high school, so obviously I was like, why are you not at home with your daughter who is high school age? That's pretty weird. And he said she didn't want anything to do with him. At this point, I was like, oh, and it all clicked. I was like, passport bro. Essentially, he said she was angry that he's never home because him and her mother were supposed to have split custody, but he's traveling, which I would be mad too. I asked about his ex-wife. He said that he met her in Thailand, obviously, moved her back to America, had kids. And then in my head, I was like, oh, your daughter's angry at you because instead of staying at home and raising her and being a father, you're being a deadbeat who would rather be in Indonesia preying on girls that probably aren't that much older than the daughter, instead of raising your own kid, and you also found your ex-wife the same way. Interesting. He also told us all of this with his face absolutely fucking covered in dragon fruit because apparently it was his first day on earth and his first day interacting with fruit. I can't honestly. This is the caliber of man that we're dealing with, you know? There's also a subset of passport bro content that is centered around like getting back at Western women. We've got to get back at them because they can't just leave the country silently and do whatever they're going to do. They have to loudly convince themselves on the way out that anyone gives a shit. This is not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. There's so much content where like the crux of it is like, oh, passport bros are owning Western women by leaving them and replacing them, and Western women are furious. No one cares. How can someone that didn't want you to begin with lose out by you leaving? How does that work? You were already removed from the dating pool. That wasn't your choice. No Western woman cares if you leave. We do care about the vulnerable women you were taking advantage of though. And at the core of all of this is it's not about love, it's all about control. It's about wielding financial power over someone who is in a vulnerable position. Western women are harder to control now by having more rights, by having more social freedom, by having more financial ability. We are harder to control, that is a fact. But instead of bettering themselves, these men who can no longer compete are just flying to other countries where the odds are tilted in their favor.
The 3 stages you're gonna go through being a passport bro. First stage is that initial leap of faith. You finally buy your ticket, nervously fire up the dating apps, getting more matches than you know what to do with. They become your guides, taking you on adventures, teaching you things you can't learn on Duolingo. The second stage, assembling your crew. You continue to work from your laptop, the month ends, and goddamn, you have spent 50% less than your boring life in your home country.
These videos sell a relationship that is as curated as a travel influencer's feed, but with gender politics baked into the algorithm. There's a real like colonial undertone to this fantasy. A Western man as the provider swooping in and saving this poor woman from her culture and her home. You can't buy love. I think we should all know that by now, but you can buy the temporary performance of it.
When we met, I was 56 years old and she was just 18.
My husband is 30.
That is crook. That is.
Let's call this what it is, legalized.
Yeah, that is, can we call it what these guys are fucking pedos? Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, if the only thing stopping you from going younger is the law, you're a bit of a pedo. You would go younger if you could. If there were no consequences, you would go younger. That does make you, that does make you a bit of a pedo. I don't know about this guy specifically, but the concept in general is just unwell.
Hey, Leah. Actually, I could look at you and think that you're a father and daughter.
It's actually lunchtime, so I'm gonna prepare our lunch.
What are you making today?
I'm gonna make some vegetable soup.
We've been together.
This looks like his daughter making lunch for him. Like, this is weird. This is weird. This is the optics of even this shot is
I was attracted to your innocence. You hadn't been corrupted by the city, you hadn't been with other foreigners. I could just see in you this was the kind of person I was looking for.
Oh, yuck, dude. This is the thing. They want to date children. If they could date children, they would. They want women whose worlds are small, with no life experience, no one to compare them to. There's no, like, it's women and teenagers, let's call it what it is, teenagers who don't know better, teenagers who don't have boundaries, who are a lot less mature. The fact that he's like, oh, I'm attracted to your innocence, that is, it's giving pedo. It's all giving pedo. You could be 18 and have a grandfather that is his age. Like, this is weird. Really, really creepy shit. And these kind of videos and vlogs and this kind of content flatten entire cultures into like a submissive girlfriend aesthetic. It's a backdrop for the man's ego as much as the palm trees and the sunsets in the background. There's a lot of creators that crop up making this kind of content, and the more these types of men post about them, the more it stops being about the relationship at all. It's more of a trophy, a travel souvenir, a piece of content to show guys and Western women back home that they are winning. Winning what? And also, it all seems great until it's not.
What's up, guys? I'm gonna talk about my trip in Poland, and I'm gonna tell you about my experience.
Why would you go to Poland as a passport, bro? What?
Western values unfortunately got over to Poland. Poland ain't shit. I'm keeping it real.
I love that anything that does not serve the agenda of these dudes is Western values. If it's got Western values, it's the new woke. It's like when people say anything that they don't like is woke. Also, if you're looking for subservient women, I don't know why on God's green earth Eastern European women would come to mind.
I would not go to Poland. Fuck no. No. Because you're basically getting the same bullshit that you get in America, or similar, and you're getting less value for it.
They talk about relationships like they are, like you're buying a car, like you get good value, you get all these add-ons and extras and that, and then they are shocked and surprised when their transactional relationship that they purchased is not genuine, not a brain cell inside.
The girl I was with, she was nice and cool and chill, but you still have to like some sort of game and riz. It's not like when you just show up, say you go to one country, like you go to South America, or you go to Asia, Philippines, you just show up, you just be present, you smile, you have fun. You're not worrying about, is this girl like me? I'm gonna get laid. I was worried about having fun and just talking to her.
Yeah, so this is the crux of everything I've been trying to say in this video. They just don't like that they have to be likable now. They have to have some kind of positive characteristics that are outside of their ability to have a job. Because a job is like a bare minimum. Providing for yourself is a bare minimum. The part they don't like is that they have to be better people in order to compete. And that's the thing that's pissing him off about Poland. Is he can't just show up with money and that's it. That's all you have to do. It's the same reason he doesn't like Western women, because you can't just show up and do the bare minimum and get everything that you want. That's the crux of this entire movement, this entire video. That is really what's happening here.
Because you already know at the end of the night, she's coming back to the crib and gonna measure how deep her throat is.
I wonder why no women in the West want him. I wonder why he has to prey on vulnerable, probably teenagers in likely the Philippines and leverage his money because no one else would want him in any other circumstance. I wonder why. So he finds issues in his homeland, he finds issues abroad. At what point do you look inwards and realize the common denominator is you? You're the problem. The second the power balance isn't tipped heavily in his favor, then the dating pool is just broken. But step away from the sunset filters and the palm trees and the picture gets a lot uglier. As I said earlier, in places like Thailand and the Philippines, a lot of passport bro activity overlaps with sex tourism, which fuels exploitation and trafficking. For entire communities, it means that their homes are no longer safe and comfortable to live in. Families avoid certain streets after dark. Young women get harassed because white foreigners assume that they're for sale, and the reputation of the area becomes so heavily tied to sex tourism that it's almost impossible for any other industries to grow. Locals do tend to push back on it, whether through campaigning for stricter laws or through violence or good old-fashioned public shaming, and local organizations have documented how vulnerable women and minors are coerced into the trade. In different hotspots, police crackdowns have rescued underage girls from brothels operating from behind bars and massage parlors. In Phuket, there's campaigns now to train hotel workers to spot signs of human trafficking. That's what this is all tied in with. It's all under the same umbrella. And the reality is it's minors in these communities that are the most at risk because of dudes like this. Traffickers target rural areas where families struggle financially, and once trapped, these children face violence, loss of education, trauma. All the while, the usually white Western men who are fueling all of this demand walk away from it with just another experience abroad. Then there's the backlash of violence that comes as a result of this. In Colombia, authorities issued a stark warning after a wave of killings targeting foreign men and passport bros. In some hotspots, violent deaths of foreigners jumped 40% in 2023. Local reports estimate that at least 25 American passport bros were killed in this area in 2023 alone. So when passport bros get on TikTok and talk about finding love abroad, this is the real backdrop of what they're doing. Communities destabilized, children exploited, and men flying in to treat women like commodities. And it's not just creepy, it is dangerous for everyone involved, including them, because when you insert yourself into a place as a walking wallet that's trying to exert power over the women there, you are obviously not stepping into romance. That's not the intention. That's not anyone's understanding of what's happening. You're stepping into an industry that's built on exploitation, crime, and desperation. At the end of the day, these passport bros want you to believe that they've found a loophole to love, that if they just hop on a plane, they can skip all of the work of being a better person and still find their dream woman. But what they're really doing is exploiting inequality and flattening entire cultures into dating stereotypes, and sometimes walking into danger they didn't see coming. No matter how they dress it up with traditional values or their Instagram highlights, you cannot build a healthy, genuine relationship on a power imbalance. Call it a transaction because that's what it is, but don't get mad when it's not love. I'm sorry, but love is not real if it depends entirely on an exchange rate. As always, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Have you met a passport bro? Have you been a passport bro? Have you already written out and hastily posted your angry comment? Let me know. If you've made it this far, give the video a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in a few days with a new video.